Supreme Court will fix a hearing date for the suit filed by 11 governors of the People's Democratic Party challenging the declaration of a state of emergency in Rivers State after its Easter vacation. The Director of Information and Public Relations at the Supreme Court, Dr. Festus Akande, said the matter would be taken up after the court resumes. He said, "You know the court is on vacation now, but when the justices return at the end of the month, a hearing date will be fixed for the matter." The suit marked XC/CV/329/2025 questions the constitutional authority of President Bola Tinubu to suspend the democratically elected government in any state. The governors are also challenging the president's decision to appoint a sole administrator to govern Rivers State. On March 18, recall President Tinubu declared a state of emergency in Rivers State, suspending Governor Siminalayi Fubara, Deputy Governor Ngozi Odo, and all elected members of the Rivers State House of Assembly for an initial period of 6 months. He subsequently appointed retired Vice Admiral Ebok Ete Ebas as sole administrator to oversee the state's affairs during the suspension. In response, governors of 11 PDP-controlled states, Adamawa, Enugu, Osun, Oyo, Bauchi, Akwa Ibom, Plateau, Delta, Taraba, Zamfara, and Bayelsa states, filed a suit against the Attorney General of the Federation and the National Assembly, listed as the first and second defendants, respectively. The plaintiffs are asking the Supreme Court to determine whether under Section 1, subsection 2, Section 5, subsection 2, Section 176, 180, 188, and 305 of the 1999 Constitution, the President has the legal authority to suspend or interfere with the offices of a governor and deputy governor and replace them with an unelected nominee under the guise of a state of emergency. They also want the court to decide whether under Sections 1, subsection 2, 4, subsection 6, 11, subsection 4 and 5, 90, 105, and 305, the President can lawfully suspend the State House of Assembly in similar circumstances. Additionally, the suit raises concerns about the President's alleged threats conveyed through the Attorney General to suspend elected governors and the deputies, arguing that such actions may violate constitutional provisions and undermine the principles of federalism. I'll start with you, Nze. What do you make of the story?
Well, thank you very much. You know, when we talk about the PDP Governors Forum, at a point we begin to assume that it's like they have lost the real substance that sustains them as a threat to the ruling party. Because today, they stand in the opposition, but they have no strength. So PDP Governors Forum as a toothless bulldog to me are just making that noise. But however, trying to analyze the steps and that is being taken over the action of Mr. President, I think that is their lawful duty. They are right to do that. They have their right to do that. And they have approached the apex court, expecting the court to make perhaps declare their stand on that. To me, the PDP Governors Forum, they are individual governors of their individual states. And the governor that was suspended is their member. But I'm thinking that at this point, going to Supreme Court to lodge a litigation against the action of the president is ill-timed.
Why do you
They
say that?
ought to have sorted out this matter long ago. The fight is between the governor of Rivers State and the former governor of Rivers State, who all hail from PDP family. Wike was, or is, he served as a PDP governor, so a member of this governors forum. And he is still a member of PDP who contested the 2023 general election under the platform of PDP.
Primaries.
Primaries, yeah. And he's still a member of PDP. And these things are happening. And this body called PDP Governors Forum could not call Wike to order, could not call Fubara to order. And these two men were fighting in the family, and they could not handle it. So I see them as being weak in their own as a group. Now, their chairman, Bala Mohammed, at some point began to have a banter with the FCT governor, FCT president, minister, or things like that, which to me made me to even believe that Governor Bola Mohammed has reduced his own pedigree, has reduced himself, he has reduced his respect in the eyes of the people. So they waited and allowed this crisis to brew until this point where, when Supreme Court had made a statement that reinstated the lawmakers who were members of PDP but assumed to have moved to APC, where people like us say, no, you can't move to APC and still retain your seat. But the Supreme Court has come to say, no, they can move and still remain based on ABC, maybe some technicalities. And since Supreme Court is the highest court in the land, whatever they say, we take it. You may disagree with it, but it is binding on you. And they have returned these people. Now, on arrival of these people to take up their seat as the State House of Assembly, I had expected the PDP Governors Forum to come, welcome these people, perhaps discuss with them, and have agreement. Bring Wike in, bring Fubara in, bring the lawmakers in, even the other factional lawmaker being led by Okubu, bring them in and say, men, we are a family, let us settle this thing. But they didn't do so. Until the president had to go out on his way and affect this state of emergency, and now they are running to Supreme Court. Now look at the second angle to this. The Supreme Court has received this litigation, and they are saying that they will give dates for hearing. Remember that this thing happened, was it February 18? Ibas is spending almost 2 months out of the 6 months. And since Akonde said that they will declare the date for hearing when they return from break, which may likely be in May. 3 months has gone. Maybe the date for hearing will come June. 4 months has gone. So the case will be there. Why wasting resources, for God's sake? For me, I think that what they would have done, instead of going to court, maybe to justify themselves, what they would have been to meet with President Tinubu, maybe behind the scene, and discuss with him. So, okay, look at this. No matter how much you claim that you are in APC, you are in PDP, all these people are political friends. They're all political friends because they have all functioned either in one group, in one political party, in one arrangement or the other, together. Go to him, say, look at this, look at what do we do?
Right. And
if actually the governance of the people of Nigeria is the interest of these politicians, I think that should have been some of the part they took, and not coming to maybe just follow rules, try to prove a point that you are doing this, whereas whatever you are doing is not in any way trickling down to the masses. So I believe that the movement they made to Supreme Court, to me, is useless, because the Supreme Court might delay this case until 6 months is over. And once 6 months is over and Fubara is returned, because you see that the president in his statement said initial 6 months. So that initial, I underline that word initial. It means that if after 6 months everything is not doused, the possibility of extending it is there. But we pray that it doesn't happen. But for the PDP Governors Forum, if they keep on their litigation, their case in the Supreme Court, and the 6 months elapse and the president returns, so to me, they're good for nothing.
All right, very well. First of all, you mentioned that the state of emergency was declared February 18. It was actually March
18, sorry.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then you also said that the PDP governors, they have to a large extent been silent and allowed this to exacerbate up until now. They have actually not been silent. PDP governors have always taken a stand. They've had PDP governors forum, their meeting, when they came out with a communique, and they took a stand and they supported Governor Fubara. They have not been silent.
Do you know why I said that they are silent?
Governor Bola Mohammed has actually been very vocal in his support of Governor Fubara. That's on one side. So they have not been silent. They have always thrown their weight behind Governor Fubara. Then finally, when you were speaking, you also said that the Supreme Court, when you were making reference to the 27 House of Assembly members, when you were making reference to the Supreme Court judgment, you said that even though you don't like the Supreme Court judgment, that it is what it is. And then you said that the Supreme Court said that even though they defected, they are still lawmakers. The Supreme Court never said that. The Supreme Court never said that. The Supreme Court said that they did not defect because the accusers could not bring tangible evidence to prove that they defected. That's the thing. Supreme Court never said that even though they defected, they are still. I need to clear that because of misinformation, so that people don't run with that wrong.
Yeah, but do you see, like when I said that the PDP Governors Forum had not been acting effectively? Yes, we were all here. We are privy to the information. We know their stand with Fubara. But I think that if two of your children are fighting, you are the mother and the father is there and the two children are fighting, and you have looked into the case and you see that they are struggling over either a toy or thereabout, it is your duty to make sure you settle matters between two of them. Not just to side one, because once you side one, the other will take offense. So if they just side Fubara and leave Wike will be angry, which you know that sometimes he made a statement that was that went viral, that if they will come to interfere in his state, that he put fire in their own state and things like that. So I see that the PDP Governors Forum, whether through their chairman or themselves as a forum, have not really acted decisively on this matter. That is why I take it that all the brouhaha that was taking place in those days, to me, was referred to as silence.
All right, very well. George, what do you make of this story?
Thank you very much. I want to say that as a Democrat and a firm believer in rule of law, I'm quite happy to hear that the PDP Governors Forum have gone to court. That will deepen our jurisprudence. Because we've not had this before since the return of democracy, where the president declares state of emergency, remove the governor and the assembly, reinstate or put someone who is a sole administrator. So let them test the law. I'm happy that they are moving to Supreme Court to test the law, but I can tell you, with my own layman's understanding, that they may not actually achieve anything in the sense that they do not have locus. These are governors of their respective states. The person that this state of emergency affected is Governor Fubara, who should have been the one to seek for interpretation of this matter, but he's not the one doing it. A governor's forum, not known in the law, is not known by our laws. It's not there in the Constitution. It's just an assemblage of friends that is, that is under one umbrella as a political party coming together to say what happened to our friend is not right. I'm looking at it from the layman's angle, that they do not have locus, in fact, that matter may be struck out on the basis of not having locus. If it was Governor Fubara, the suspended governor, that had gone to court, because he is the one that is affected, maybe, just maybe, like I said, it's better that they test the waters. Let's see if this will deepen our jurisprudence. But again, I must say that, like my brother here has said, this problem would have long been resolved if these interested parties that are now showing themselves, including the Governors Forum, PDP Governors Forum, had waded in earlier, to resolve this matter. Conflict is one of those oldest things in the world. As long as human beings are involved, there must be conflict. There must be conflict, but the ability to resolve this conflict is what makes the difference. All these years, for over 18 months, the crisis was lingering. It was lingering. None of them made a move to de-escalate this crisis. Instead, they were the ones, ensuring, bringing all sorts of things, including fuel, to making sure that the flame keep, going high and high and high. Then they allowed the Supreme Court to rule on the matter. After the final arbiter has given a judgment, a pronouncement of the matter, they are now coming to seek for. Where were they? What were they doing? All this happened because they felt they hated someone who was an active participant in that crisis. So therefore, they just want him exterminated. Unfortunately, it did not go that way, because the law is the law. When the law speak, every other sentiment will hide their faces. So if you ask me, like I said earlier, let them try their luck to see if there will be changes to our laws if the Supreme Court will come to say, okay, this thing is illegal, therefore this man should be reinstated. That's exactly what they are going for. That's what they are seeking. But I don't see them achieving that because I believe they do not have the locus, because they are not the ones that are affected. They are just friends to Governor Fubara. Governor Fubara should have been the one to approach the Supreme Court for interpretation of this matter. Unfortunately, he's not there. His friends are doing it on his behalf. And the question is, how are the friends affected by this state of emergency declaration in Rivers State? Directly affected. I'm not talking about sentiment or bias. How are they directly affected? They are not even from Rivers State. All these PDP governors. So they are not affected in a way. That's the angle I'm looking at it. But let's wait. We will not preempt the court.
Now, the interesting thing is this. Now, PDP Governors Forum, it's going to court. The governor, the suspended governor, became a governor on that platform. That's one. Now, number two, they are not going as individual persons. They are going as governors in a particular party that gave one of their colleagues the platform. That's one. Number two, they also added themselves in the matter when they said that the presidency allegedly threatened them through the Attorney General and said that they would be suspended as well, and their deputies and House of Assemblies, if they do not handle crisis in their states properly. So now they are saying that threat, they are asking the courts to, intervene and determine whether the president has the powers to suspend them as elected governors. Now, this is how they have entered this matter now. Right.
No,
now, on the other hand, with respect to the suspended governor taking this matter to court, now, matters pertaining to the federal government can only be, in this instance, is the Supreme Court that has the jurisdiction to entertain it. Now, the question would be, the governor has been suspended and therefore is not in power and therefore cannot, speak for Rivers State right now. The person that has the power right now to speak for Rivers State or sue on behalf of Rivers State is the sole administrator. The suspended governor cannot sue on behalf of Rivers State because he is not in the position to do that. That would be the one thing. Now, you can talk about probably the suspended governor going to court for enforcement of his fundamental human rights. If it has been, go to court suing the federal government or suing the presidency in this instance for unlawful removal. In that case, that is him as an individual, but not representing the state.
Maybe you did not get me right. I was
saying
that he was representing the state. Having been suspended, he's no longer acting for and on behalf of Rivers State. I'm saying that he was suspended as a governor. He is the one that is affected, and he has the right as an individual who was affected, to go to court and seek for interpretation. And not these other people who were not directly affected. If you say maybe the Attorney General threatened them of removal, that is a different case. I'm sure the point they went to court is not just on one point. But if it is for the reinstatement of Governor Fubara as the governor of Rivers State, I'm saying that they do not have locus because they are not directly affected. That Fubara is their member as a political party member does not in any way affect. We are talking about the governorship of a state. Individually, they are not the governor of Rivers State. They are the governors of their own respective state. So what happened in Rivers State does not in any way, directly, not indirectly, directly affected them. So they may not have locus on the matter. Like I said, that's my own layman's view. We will await the Supreme Court's pronouncement on this matter. We will not even preempt them. They are all knowing when it comes to matters of law. I'm just looking at it from the angle of locus, if they have locus. But if you say they went to court, joining other issues, such as the threat by the Attorney General that if they don't behave, they will be removed. That one is a different matter. The Supreme Court may decide to talk that because it affects them directly. But what borders on Rivers State, governor of Rivers State being removed and a sole administrator being appointed does not in any way affect those individual governors. So on the issue of locus, the matter may be struck out. That is my own view on the matter.
All right.
Thank you.
Now, the question I'm asking is the fact that they are doing this on the platform of PDP. do you think it will hold water?
It will still not hold water, because at that point, the moment someone is elected, the person becomes an individual. Every responsibility of the state is not about the party. Now, the party is not a human being. We are talking about a human being that takes decision. It has nothing to do with PDP or no PDP.
I'm looking at one. The matter is not coming up as individual states, but as a collective. This is more like a class action, right? And they are doing it on the platform of the PDP. Unless probably you be coming from the angle of the fact that even though they are doing this on the platform of the PDP, if they have gone as PDP's governors forum, that's where probably one would say there might be an issue, because the question will not be, is PDP governors forum registered? Is it registered? Is it recognized under the law as an association?
I said that.
Do political parties, now I'm asking you because both of you are party men, political parties, do they allow these subgroups to be registered as association and still be under the party? Is it allowed?
Yeah, I don't think there's anything like that. The only reason why the governors forum is that powerful is because they are holding executive position.
Okay.
For and on behalf of the people.
Okay.
So because they take most of these decisions individually and for their respective states, so somehow they know one or two which can help, foster whatever in the party. That is why they are recognized. If you come into a political party in the arrangement, there's nothing like governors forum in the hierarchy.
Okay.
But because we have been elected and we take the decision on behalf of our state, it is important that we synergize as party members to see how we can, work together as states to bring, collaborate. That's just the essence of that governorship. Beyond that, there is not recognized.
All right, very well. Finally, Nze, before I move over to the next question, I've been thinking about this for a while, and I want to pick your brain a bit on that. Now, with respect to the state of emergency, there have been calls that the declaration of the state of emergency is not illegal. However, now the problem is the suspension of the governor and the legislative house, the state legislative house. Now, the question, everybody is saying that it is not in the Constitution. The president did not derive any powers from the Constitution to suspend a sitting governor and the House of Assembly. Now, I have been taking my time to go through this section of the Constitution, and interestingly, the Constitution is quiet on that. Now, the Constitution did not say anything with regards to suspending or not suspending the governor. The Constitution did not say the president shall not suspend a sitting governor.
Does not have power to suspend a sitting governor.
The Constitution did not say the president shall not, cannot, or does not have the powers to suspend a sitting governor in state of emergency situation. And also the Constitution did not say anything with regards to that with respect to the House of Assembly. The Constitution as well did not also say that the president is bad or he is empowered. So with regards to that, the Constitution is silent. So now, if we are saying it is illegal, the question would be, where are we deriving the illegality from?
Permit me to connect this question to biblical statement that says that if there is no law, there will be no breaking of law. If there is no law, there will be no breaking of law. Now, you see that the president, either through his advisors and the legal luminaries that surrounded him, might have gone through the Constitution to peruse through the articles that has something to do with things of this and not finding it there. Now, some people are of the opinion that the president waded into Rivers crisis to forestall more danger. And some are like, the president came in to satisfy his political friend and things like that. That is opinion of the people. And everybody is entitled to his personal opinion. But I'm thinking, just from the angle your question has come, that if this issue of the right of president to do or not to do in the areas concerning suspension if it is not captured anywhere in the Constitution.
Under the state of emergency.
Under the state of emergency. And the president has done that. To me as a Nigerian, in as much as you know my stand when it comes to the president and the state of emergency, but looking at this from the angle of the Constitution that guides every one of us in Nigeria, I don't think if Mr. President has done anything wrong. Rather, he as a father might have looked critically into the matter, knowing fully well that if he just declared that state of emergency without suspending these people, the peace he wanted to achieve will not be achieved, because the same crisis will continue, because the lawmakers may likely carry out their threat, or the governor may likely carry out his threat if they remain in office. So suspending them, just as you rightly said earlier, that the president had to involve doctrine of necessity, to keep these people calm. He disarmed the two warring factions. He disarmed the executive, he disarmed the legislature, so that they have nothing to fight with. Now, will you fight with your bare hands? The answer is no. So the legislators are somewhere, either fanning themselves or licking their wounds. And the governor is somewhere, the executive, either fanning himself or licking his wounds. So, but however, looking at the angle the matter is going, what we are expecting, or what we had expected, is that the man who came to administer the affairs of Rivers State as a sole administrator would have closed his ears, blindfolded himself, and governed Rivers State. How do I mean? Close your ears, don't hear what happened in the past. Close your eyes, don't see who is coming to you. Only look at Rivers people. If you want to appoint people into offices, having known that these people have been appointed by the suspended governor, and you think that they will be doing his whims, now you have removed them. Bring fresh, qualified Rivers people, irrespective of the divide they belong.
Are the appointees of the sole administrator not qualified?
No, what I mean...
Is there anybody that is unqualified?
No, it is not in my place to say whether they are qualified or not, because I wasn't even
comfortable. Biasness in
no, what I mean is, I'm thinking that I believe, this is me.
Okay.
I don't care what any other person thinks, except when you're taught, maybe when it is compared with mine, and your own is more valid, I think I will follow you. That is one thing with me. But looking at it from now, we believe that most of his appointees are allies of FCT.
Can you mention names?
Do you want me to mention? Do you want me to tell?
Do you want me?
Okay, let me give. Let me give you one.
On the accuser.
Oh, hold on. Let me give you one. The present sole administrator of Rewama is Samuel Wanosike, who does not know him. Lorenza, don't you know him?
Wasn't that news debunked? Has there been an official announcement made to that effect?
If they debunk it, they should make it official. And not only making it official.
Has there been an official announcement of that appointment?
From who? Who then is the official announcer of events in Rivers State, if not the media? So if that...
When you can go to Rivers State government portal,
well,
you recall that when this news broke, the Rivers State government came out to debunk it. Now, you are going ahead to say that this is what it is. What we know for now is that the Rivers State government said that is not true. And if you're insisting it's true, the question I will now ask you is, can you prove that appointment? Has the Rivers State government announced that appointment? Have they announced it?
Now, let us look at it. You said that the Rivers State government came to debunk that.
Yes.
If they have debunked it, let them make it public.
It was public.
Because to me, I've not seen it anywhere.
I
personally have. That is why I'm still standing on it. If they debunk it, let them make it public and let it not happen.
It was discussed on my show.
Okay, fine. Now, other appointments that were made, we hear people in the news. In as much as I don't have, in fact, I wouldn't even want to go to verify whatever the administrator is doing or whatever, except what I see in the news. I look at it, I analyze it. If it is okay, if he has acted well, we will praise him. Because to me, I don't have any personal issue with the administrator. He is a man I respect, coming from my angle of professionalism, because he's coming from the Marine. that is my professional area, and he's a man we respected as former chief of naval staff. We have high respect for our chiefs and things like that. So, but coming, sometime I don't know whether if it is in this station or
we've discussed it here.
Where I said that
when we talked about the appointment, you were a guest on that.
Yeah, because
they both of you and I think it was Obunuchi, Chris Oka, and both of you were talking about most of the appointments, and it's now ended around him appointing some people that you say we are close to you, and upon further investigation we found out that they were Assemblies of God members.
Okay, that was within
Damsey, yes, and the sole administrator is also from Assemblies of God. So I said, okay, is there a religious bias now going on that some of the appointees are Assemblies of God members? I recall we have had this conversation.
Yes, we discussed it.
I needed to bring it to your notice.
So you have turned it, the sole administrator, into religious affair.
You actually raised that. So I had to now prod further, and I found out that it is what it is, because some of the appointees, like you said, they were close to you, and
must it be from the religious angle?
Be linked from your church.
And to an extent, I'm a businessman, I'm a politician, and I'm a religious person. So, and I think I'm also a societal man.
Very, very well.
Yeah, so I'm a societal man, so I relate with people across board.
Very well. George, your final take before we move on to the next story. Now, very quickly, just like I asked him, the Constitution, with regards to the state of emergency, is actually silent on the powers of the governor to suspend or not to suspend. Actually, the Constitution didn't deal with that. Probably the Supreme Court, now that there is a litigation before them, may decide on that, and probably that will be a precedent to fall back to. But then, the question I want to ask is with regards to the appropriateness or inappropriateness of the suspension of the governor and the House of Assembly members. I've asked them from the angle of what the law says. Now, I want to ask you from the angle of necessity, as it were, in Rivers State. Now, from the beginning of this crisis to the end, clearly both factions refused to sheath their swords, even when calls were made for reconciliation. And then everybody was hoping that Supreme Court judgment will decide. The governor also said that he's waiting for Supreme Court judgment. So the River State crisis was basically hanging on Supreme Court judgment. But the judgment came and issues became worse. And then there were threats of impeachment. If the president had gone ahead to declare the state of emergency, still leaving the arrowheads of this crisis to still wield power to continue with the crisis, do you think the state of emergency would have worked?
Okay, in law, they say there is always exception to the rule.
Okay.
There was need for that doctrine of necessity, even though it was not explicitly stated in the Constitution that the president can remove or suspend an elected governor of a state. However, the president hinged his decision on the basis that the two arms of government, that is the warring factions, were the ones that has made the state to be ungovernable. And if he had not acted when he acted, River State was like a time bomb waiting to explode. So the president, as a father of the nation, who understands the importance of the state to the development of Nigeria, who understands the revenue that is being generated from the state, that whatever, and the state being volatile, any security threat there will affect a whole lot of things, decided to act the way he did. It was doctrine of necessity for me, even though it was not there, but it was necessary to ensure peace and progress of this nation. The president is the commander-in-chief. He is the one in charge to ensure, commanding the armies and the security agencies and everything. So when he sees a clear danger, it is his responsibility to ensure that those dangers are mitigated. That is what he has done. So for me, it was right. Even though, as an active participant in a way, I felt that the man did not actually take cognizance of what the assembly guys have suffered in the past 18 months. But it was necessary for peace to return to River State. So I am not in any way, disagreeing with what the president has done. He is right. Yes, people may say it's not constitutional, but they did not see the dangers ahead. They did not see it. Like you said, even when court had made pronouncement, these warring factions never, sheathed their sword. So what were you expecting, that the president would have just started to allow River State to explode? So it was doctrine of necessity. For me, I think what he did was completely okay.
All right.
Okay, I give support to it.